Barry Somerers.
Top 100.
Barry Somerers.
Top 100. He's got a voice that's really the bomb. He'll make a choice that'll aggravate Tom. I hate to spoil it, but when all's said and done, Merchant of Venus gonna be number one.
Barry Somerers.
Top 100.
Well, hello. Welcome to the Top 100. Today, 80 through 71. Let's get started.
Number 80, Lost Valley.
Number 80 is one that I don't have in my hands either. It's called Lost Valley. It's a tile-laying game of exploration. You're going gold hunting, and everybody starts on one large tile, and you all sort of spread out, placing these rhombus tiles, which I don't usually see. There's these four-sided but slanted diamond-shaped tiles that you're placing along as you look for gold and hunt animals, and you've got a cart that you can put equipment in, and you can go back to town and buy more equipment, or you can go hunting, you can go digging in the river for gold, you can go into mines for gold, but you need equipment to do so. So it requires a lot of planning, a little bit of luck, and sometimes you're trying to place these tiles so that they enclose a little triangular section, which brings out some interesting little triangular tiles which have more bonuses in them. I really like Lost Valley. The only reason I don't own a copy is that my group has it, so I don't really need to, but I was this close when the recent second edition came out. Lost Valley, my number 8.
Number 79, Marrakech.
Marrakech, my number 79, was on the recommended list of the Spiel des Jahres a few years ago, and ever since then it's been on my radar. I had to hunt it down for a while. It was tricky to find. I actually found it in a gift shop once at a local children's museum. Weird. In the game, you have a particular color of carpet, and there's these nice fabric carpets in this game. And you want this little surveyor dude to hit your carpets. So you turn the guy in a particular direction and you roll the die, and that's how far he moves. If he lands on somebody's carpet, they get points based on how big that swath of carpet is. And then you get to place down one of your carpets, and you can cover other people's carpets. And so you end up with this nice tapestry of colors. And it's a risk versus reward sort of thing. Do you turn him one way and hope that he lands on your big swath of carpets, but still taking the risk that maybe he's going to hit your opponents as well? Or do you simply avoid your opponent's big swaths as much as you can? You earn money every time he lands on your carpets, and whoever has the most money at the end wins. Marrakech, a very interesting, unique game. My number 70.
Number 78, Puzzle Strike.
78 is Puzzle Strike with this crazy gaudy Pepto-Bismol box, but still, neat game. It is a deck builder, but you're using chips to build your deck, and each player has their own special ability. You're playing one of these fighting characters that are very similar to, say, a Street Fighter sort of license, or more specifically, Super Puzzle Fighter, which was the Street Fighter puzzle game. This is kind of the theme of this, and you're battling and trying to knock out everybody's chips and fill up their board, and each player gets their own trio of chips that only they have, and you're throwing those in the bag along with your basic chips. You're drafting more chips, you're pulling them out of the bag, and attacking your opponents. It's got some really interesting mechanisms, and it's a lot of fun. Puzzle Strike, my number 7.
Number 77, Cartagena.
One of my family's constant requests when it comes to games is the pirate game, also known as Cartagena. This is a Leo Colabini design. You're trying to escape from a dungeon, and you've got sort of a randomized track with different symbols on it, and you play cards to move your pirates along that path. However, the only way to draw cards is to move your pirates backwards, and the more pirates are clustered on a particular space when you move backwards, the more cards you will draw, but if the space is too full, you have to move right past it. So balancing that move forward, cluster back in order to keep your resources flowing is the key. Also, not leaving key scoring opportunities or drawing opportunities for your opponents is also important. So it's simple to learn, but there's some advanced tactics involved in this box. There are two ways to play. I forget exactly what they called it. One where you just have a hand of cards, and one where you actually get to see a row of cards. Forget the row of cards, it'll slow things down. Just play with the hands of cards. Cartagena is a terrific family game.
Number 76, Eminent Domain.
Number 76 is Eminent Domain. I have sort of a weird relationship with this game. It sort of wavers in my mind, but when I put it up against the others, this is where it fell. In Eminent Domain, you've got a deck of cards, it's got a deck building mechanism, and you then take actions, and every time you take that action, you draw a card associated with it, therefore making you better at doing that action. And so when you play an action, you can play cards from your hand in order to make that action stronger. So you get better at doing certain things as you do them, which is a very interesting mechanism. I am really looking forward to seeing what the expansion does to this game. It may go up, it may go down. This is sort of in flux right now with Eminent Domain, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Check it.
Number 75, Password.
Yeah, this is a bit of a strange pick, but I am a huge fan of classic game shows. And one of the most classic out there was Password. Alan Ludden hosting. He'd often have his wife, Betty White, on, and watching the mental exercise of seeing these people try and get their partner to guess a clue based on single word clues, and that progression of all right, well, he said this, but I don't like that line of thinking, so I'm going to try and get you to go in a different direction with only one word, and trying to watch the contestants, the partners, try and guess those words. This is identical to the television game show, and if you have four people, especially four people who know each other well, this is a terrific couples game. It's certainly more quiet than lots of other party games. It requires some thought, it requires some technique, but I appreciate that. Password is an excellent couples game.
Number 74, Discworld. Egg, more pork.
I am a fan of the Terry Pratchett Discworld universe. I particularly like the stories about the City Watch, the guards. Discworld Ankh-Morpork is a Martin Wallace design. It's sort of an area control game with a hidden role element. So you're placing your pieces of wood, buildings, you're claiming these special abilities of different territories, spending money, earning money, and using these cards to sort of draft your actions too. The cards say what you can do. Place one building and draw a card, or play an extra card and attack an opponent. There's also a whole bunch of chaos with some magic cards that can cause dragons to attack and ogres to show up on the board. And every player has a secret goal. You may be just trying to get the most points on the board. You may be trying to get a whole bunch of money. You may be trying to get a whole bunch of trouble on the board, because there's this aspect of trouble, and people, trouble causes trouble. It causes more things to happen. Anytime you've got more than one player's rabble in a particular zone, it causes trouble, and one guy is just trying to cause as much trouble as possible. So trying to figure out what the guy next to you is doing and preventing them from achieving that win condition is a key to the game. This is the special edition, the Tree Frog edition of the game. It had a poster, it's got a slightly larger board. It also has, because 8 is a bad number in the world of Discworld, instead of 8 on its die, it has a 7A. It's a thing. Discworld Ankh-Morpork, really neat game. Well worth it.
Number 73, Union Pacific.
Okay, this is a bit of a weird choice. Union Pacific is an excellent game. It's sort of a stock game, and you are trying to lay stock cards in front of you to claim ownership, controlling interest in various train companies. And you are also, as you do this, expanding the role of those train companies on the board to make them worth more. It's a terrific game, well worth a look. However, it's no longer in my collection because I have this. Now, the reason I didn't put Airlines Europe on the list is I haven't actually played this one yet. I've read through the rules, and based solely on that, and knowing that the mechanisms are a little bit more streamlined here, I think this is going to be a bigger hit with the family. It's going to see more table time with me. So I kept this, and I recently sold my Union Pacific because it's out of print and it was worth a lot. So Airlines Europe will probably, in future years, take this particular slot, but either game is well worth a look if you enjoy that stock aspect. It also has several elements of Ticket to Ride, another Alan Moon design that you may enjoy. So if you're a fan of Ticket to Ride and want something a little deeper, it has similar card drafting, stock drafting mechanisms. Well worth a look, either Union Pacific or Airlines.
Number 72, Battlestar Galactica.
It used to be that licensed games were terrible. It was just a given. If something had a television or film license on it, it was just not going to be good, with the possible exception of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which really should be on my list. I'm not sure if it is or not. Anyway, until Battlestar Galactica. This is a Fantasy Flight release, game by Corey Konechka, and this takes the license of the new Battlestar Galactica and completely personifies it. All of the intrigue and the paranoia and everything that you expect from the television series is in this game. You are a band of survivors trying to make it from point A to point B, depending on which version of the game you're playing. But there is a traitor, a Cylon, at least one in your midst somewhere. They're working against you. They may not even know that they're a Cylon at the beginning of the game. And trying to figure out, based on everyone's actions, who everyone is, what their goals are, what their motivations are. It is a fascinating game. It does run a little long, especially with newer players, and also depending on how much you want to argue. But for a experience that mirrors the television series on which it is based, you can't beat Battlestar Galactica.
Number 71, Expedition.
Let's round out this set with Expedition. This is a Queen Games release. There was also a National Geographic version. There was also another game called Wildlife Adventure that does essentially the same thing. In Expedition, you are controlling 3 different expeditions around the world, and you are trying to tag different locations. You start out with a hand of locations that are just yours, that you are trying to hit, and there are also some public ones that will also earn you points. And these 3 expeditions are made up of little plastic arrows, and they move along tracks, and there are different points that give you additional movements. If you manage to make a loop, you can sort of spring out in other directions, and guiding and pushing these arrows to where you want to go is the tricky element of the game. You also can spend cards to take extra actions. You can try and mess with your opponents. You can see where somebody is headed. You can you place at the beginning of the game some tokens that are like worth double if you manage to get to them, and so you know some of the places that people are building to, and you can steer the expeditions away, and eventually you run out of arrows on a particular route, and so you can't actually move the red line anymore. You have to focus on the other 2. It has a terrific arc as you work toward the end of the game. Very interesting game. Well worth a look if you manage to track it down. I have heard rumors of a new edition coming, but I don't really know. Expedition. My number, what is it? 71. Well, I hope you enjoyed yourself. Next time we go from 70 down to 61. Join me, will you? Thanks for watching The Dice Tower.
Every summer runners.
Top 100.
Every summer runners.
Top 100.
Thanks so much for watching one of the Dice Tower's Top 100 Games list. Tune back next time for 10 more of Eric's games. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. Cool stuff in stock.
Top 100.